Welcome to the Messianic Hour with Rabbi Scott Sekulow. The Messianic Hour is a program designed to give you insight into the Jewish roots of your faith. Rabbi Scott is also here to answer your questions and help you gain a deeper understanding of Bible prophecy. And now, here's your host, Rabbi Scott Sekulow.
Shalom and welcome to another edition of the Messianic Hour. I'm your host, Rabbi Scott. I'm here with my wife, Judy. This show is dedicated to reaching the lost and educating. And we're glad you're with us once again this week. We got a great show in store for you. We're going to be looking at the ongoing situation in the Middle East. We have at least a ceasefire that looks like it's going to be holding. It's been extended for another 5 days, but we're going to take a look at really what that means and what's going forward, and also the reports now coming out that Hamas's claims of so many being killed really aren't as accurate as they say they are. There should be no surprise if you followed these situations in the past. The same type thing has come out. They claim that a lot of people are killed, but then in reality, many of those names are either doubled up, or many of them are also their soldiers as well. So we're going to take a look at that as well. And if you're in the Atlanta area, tomorrow on Sunday, we have a special guest speaker, Rabbi Shapira. He'll be doing 2 teachings at the congregation, Sunday at 2 o'clock and also again at 6. So you can check that out. If you missed his first 2 teachings, you can watch that online through our YouTube, our Vimeo, and Roku accounts as well. So we're going to have a great weekend in store, and we're glad you're with us. Judy, just before we know it, we're going to be at the High Holy Days.
I know. They come up the September 26th. I'm going off the top of my head, but it's right around in there. I got an email a few days ago, and it was like, it's 6.5 weeks to Rosh Hashanah. And I was like, I really didn't need to know that right now. There's too much to plan for. But we hope that if you are in the Atlanta area, you'll come join us for Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, High Holy Day services. If not, we always live stream our services.
That's right.
We're making improvements to that, getting the platform stabilized a little more, and trying to always bring you a great experience via live streaming. We've
just updated the system so that we now have all 3 cameras working at the same time, which was
don't say that, it may change.
Which was an interesting little thing we had to correct, and but we got a lot of neat things going on, a lot of things. In fact, we're going to be talking. We have some big announcement that we're going to wait to the second half of the show to make
you listen to everything.
That's
first.
Right. So. You want to definitely get that information. I want to encourage you, go to our website, rabbiscott.com, sign up for our newsletter. We want to keep you informed. We have a great page on Facebook. You're getting a lot of people joining Facebook, and that's great, but we also want to be able to give you more information via other ways, and we have a Roku channel. It's called the Messianic Channel, and Vimeo, YouTube, all these great ways to get in touch with us. So check that all out. Sign up for our newsletter. You get a free gift, the book, I Have a Friend Who's Jewish to You, and the prophecy card just for signing up. So check that out at the website. Remember, we are a listener-supported show as well. You can help us right there online. While you're there, you can plant a tree in Israel. What a great way to help rebuild the forests that have been destroyed by these rockets attacks. So check that out, again, at our website, rabbiscott.com. It's a great way to bless Israel by planting a tree there. For a donation of $25, a tree will be planted in your honor. We'll be back right after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Messianic Hour. I'm your host, Rabbi Scott. This show is dedicated to reaching the lost and educating the found. And we're going to discuss right now the situation going on in Israel. We are in a ceasefire. It's lasted for a number of days. The reports coming out that's going to be extended another 5 days, and that a possible peace treaty or negotiations are in effect. But we need to really look and understand what this means. And we're also hearing reports, too, that the casualties that the Hamas is claiming is really out of proportion. And some people are questioning that. Judy, what have you been pulling online? What do you want to talk about with this segment?
Well, the first thing I want to touch on is that the ceasefire has been extended for 5 days, but we have to remember that every time a ceasefire is like 2 hours about to be ended, Hamas fires a rocket.
Right.
So they're really not honoring the ceasefires. They're breaking them early.
Now, I want to say something because that happened just with this last one, where it's now been extended. And Hamas, while there was about, I think, 8 or 9 rockets sent into Israel, they were claiming, oh, it was not us. It was another terrorist group inside of Gaza. I want you to understand, these other groups inside of Gaza are just offshoots of Hamas. They control them, and they're a part of them. So for them to say, oh, it wasn't really us, yes, it was. So just to give people some clarity on that.
Well, and there's really, yes, they're talking about a ceasefire, but I think Israel and Hamas/Palestinians are rather far apart.
Right.
I mean, they keep trying.
And the Egyptians, too, because remember that one of the part of this is that they want to open the border to Egypt, and Egypt has been fight against that because of the same reason with the weapon smuggling.
Well, and they're accusing Israel of playing with terminologies and hiding behind them in a ruse. So really, that's the biggest thing, is that Hamas still doesn't want to recognize Israel as Israel. It doesn't want to recognize Israel's right to exist. And I really, it's as long as Hamas is a part of this, I really think we're in for kind of a terrible ride with what's going on.
Well, that too, and the fact that with the situation, Hamas, not only have they never renounced that they want to destroy Israel, they also are not willing to disarm, and that's going to be this. And Israel has a very valid point. Okay, so we have a ceasefire now. All this does is allows them to get more weapons. They get enough weapons, and then they go to attack us again. And this has to stop. There's been a cycle that's going on every couple of years, and it doesn't help anybody.
And one of the things that Hamas wants is they are on the sea. That is part of and they want a seaport. Well, all that does then is give them a direct route to bring arms and ammunition in larger quantities than it's being brought in now. And, yes, it's been talked about in the past, but that was before we are where we are now. With each operation, we had Operation Cast Lead. We had the one in 2012. I don't remember its name, and the one now. Each time, Hamas has been able to send rockets further and further and further into Israel. So it's something serious that Israel's got to address and needs to address aggressively, in my opinion.
Right, and the weapons they know are coming from Syria and Iran. This is, again, why Israel is saying we have to make sure that their borders are secure. It's just like allowing, what would we do if Canada started shooting rockets into, Massachusetts and other places? We would have to respond, and that's all Israel's doing, and they're tired of having to do that. Their people should be allowed to live in peace and not worry that if a rocket's going to come and attack. And I really think that I'm praying that the Israeli government really stands firm and takes a stand that they're not going to let this we're going to go back to how it was, because we'll be doing this again a few years from now, and that doesn't work.
Well, and one of the things that really shows Hamas's true intentions is, there's a border crossing where they actually send in the humanitarian aid, the food and everything like that. And a few days ago, Hamas actually fired a rocket into, if you go on, if we've been telling you, if you're on Facebook, look for the IDF's website, the Israel Defense Forces website, look for Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs. There's an actual video that shows a rocket coming into the staging area for the humanitarian aid that's supposed to go through this checkpoint. So this is supplies that's needed for their people, but they deliberately send a rocket in there.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. From that same website, it says Hamas terrorists fired almost 600 rockets from civilian facilities in Gaza, 260 rockets from schools, 50 rockets from hospitals, 127 rockets from cemeteries, and 160 rockets from mosques. So this is the whole plan of the situation there is they use their civilians as human shields. The people say, "Oh, it's such a lopsided response. The number of people killed," and that's even in debate now. Many of the people, even major news medias, are coming out saying that that doesn't make sense. Their statistics and how it does it. They're saying that 37% of the people killed are between the ages of 20 to 29 males, ages that age, which, by the way, that's their age of their military, and yet they only make up 9% of the total population. So their figures aren't making sense, which this has happened before. They put out these false information, and then they recant it later on or just deny it altogether. We've seen it with fake pictures being done. This is the type of things that Hamas does. They try to get the sympathy, but reality is they're putting their own people in harm's way, and this needs to stop. It's not fair to the Palestinians, and it's not fair to Israel. And remember, the rockets that Hamas is sending over, they're not sending it towards military sites like Israel does. They're knocking out places that have been used for rockets. Hamas is sending them to civilian areas, and they don't care who they kill or what they kill. All they want to do is kill.
Well, and what we have to remember, and I'm going to put these on so I can read, in Hamas's organizational covenant, it states, Hamas strives to raise the banner of Allah over every inch of Palestine, meaning all of Israel, the West Bank, and Gaza.
Right.
In addition, the organization promotes the anti-Semitic ideology that glorifies jihad, holy war, and the killing of Jews. So in their own charter, it says that they want Allah to reign over everything.
Right.
And this is, it's the same thing that we're seeing. You watch the news and you really can't help but to be depressed nowadays because you see this with ISIS. You see this in Syria. You see this in Iran, where if you're not a full-fledged Muslim believer in Allah, which is a false god, we know that, you're a target. It doesn't matter. We think we're so safe here in the United States, but we're really not. We see it happen in England. We've seen it happen in France. Who's to say that if we don't speak up, if we stay silent, if we don't support Israel, that we're next? Well, and that's the thing we have to think about it. And that the one thing that really concerns me in this is for people who, to read in the news where our government really isn't supporting Israel to the degree that they should be, because it's a biblical mandate. It's, I will bless those that bless me and I will curse those that curse me. Well, we're not cursing Israel in the traditional sense of cursing, but we're not supporting them, and then that does come off as a curse.
And Judy, you mentioned about here in the States, ISIS. That's their whole goal. Look what they're doing on that mountain.
World denomination, submission to Allah.
Right. They want world dominance, and they want to. If you don't believe in them, that's what they're doing right now. They're killing Christians on the mountaintop. They've been beheading them. Those that are coming down, and they say, right now the goal is there. Next is Israel, and then the United States. This is something that we need to realize. This is not just a physical war. It's a spiritual battle going on between good and evil, and that's how we have to understand this. This is, again, Allah is not God. They're not the same gods. The Muslim faith didn't come till 400 years after Yeshua was here on earth. That's why it's not mentioned in the scripture. They didn't exist. And we see this false religion, and they're trying to dominate the world. They've done it before, and they're trying to do it again.
Well, and you see it coming into the church with this Chrislam, that, let's show the similarities between Christianity and Islam. That is the most sneakiest, worst thing that you could ever be involved in, because it's diluting what we believe, and it's trying to make Islam acceptable to Christianity by showing how much we're alike. And
that we're actually totally apart. So we're going to be going to a hard break here. We'll be back. We have a big announcement. You don't want to stay tuned. Check out RabbiScott.com for more information. We'll be back right after this break.
Welcome to the Messianic Hour. I'm Judy Seculo, and I'm glad that you're watching and listening with us today. And we keep telling you, you can go to our Facebook page. You can send us an email at mail@rabbiscott.com and send your questions in.
Right.
And we actually have a question this week. Yay!
Okay.
So let me read. It's very light print and very small, and my eyes are not what they used to be. Excuse me. Okay, it says, could you please define, describe, delineate, got a lot of D's there, what is meant by the term ceremonial laws? As a Christian, I very much want to understand and follow all the Lord wants for us today. However, as you are aware, there's confusion in Christian circles regarding the law.
Right.
Do you believe that all Christians should observe all the 316 commandments?
Actually, there's 613 commandments.
Well, what did I say?
You said 313.
I meant 613.
Okay.
I just reversed numbers.
There you go. Dyslexia is a horrible disease. Affects 4 of every 5 children.
Which you have and I don't, but go ahead.
And some of the people got that joke. Others will get it later. So
other people may have to rewind and listen to this again to figure out what you just said.
So the 613 commandments are in the Scripture, and these are commandments that some relate to the priest, which is the ceremonial ones, deal with the temple, and the ones when the temple's in existence. That's actually the majority of the commandments. The others deal with normal everyday life, and then some deal with just men, some with just women. And so while we say we still keep the commandments, there's obviously many that we can't keep right now because the temple is not in existence. And then even with that, some of them were required for the Levites. This is what they were to do. So if you basically look at the commandments, the 10 commandments as we look at the main headers, those, we pretty much should be able to keep all of those and the ones that fall under them with that. So the church today, we have this idea of, it's all about grace and we don't have to keep the commandments. Yet in Matthew chapter 5, verses 17 through 19, Yeshua says, see, I have not come to abolish the Torah, the prophets, in other words, the commandments, the laws. I have not come to abolish, but to fulfill. That word in Hebrew actually means to bring to its fullness. Those who keep the commandments, what are the commandments? The Torah, that's what he was just talking about, and teach others to do so will be considered great in the kingdom of heaven. Those who do not keep the commandments and do not teach others to do so will be considered least in the kingdom of heaven. So the whole purpose of the Torah is not to get us in or out of heaven, but it's to regain those riches in heaven.
And I want to just, coming from the Gentile side of this, my kind of light bulb moment that I had is you've got to realize that, like, for example, the High Holy Days, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, God says this is an everlasting covenant.
Right.
So if God said that, Yeshua couldn't come and do away with it, because then he would have been a false Messiah. So if God says, do this as an everlasting covenant, do this, this is my command. So if you firmly believe that God gave these commandments, Yeshua couldn't come in and change them.
Right. And
he could clarify them, because, man, we like to muck it up. He can clarify them and bring them back to what they were supposed to be in intent, but he can't nullify them. He can't do away with them. So just because we have umpteen hundreds of years of church history that hasn't done this doesn't make it right. It means that somewhere along the way, we humans messed it up, because you know what? Who wants to be under laws? Show me a child that wants to do every single thing a parent says.
Show me a teenager
I have
that
a
will do anything.
13-year-old. We go through this every day. Show me an adult who wants to follow every single law. Show me someone that doesn't go 5 miles over the speed limit because, we can go 5 miles over because they give us grace, but still doesn't make it right. So it's easier to be able to say, oh, well, we don't have to do all of this. Yeshua came and it changed, than having to follow these. But actually, by following them, it gives us structure.
And it gets us closer to God.
It shows us all of the commandments, which I hate calling them the law because they weren't the law. They were instructions on how to approach a holy God.
Right.
Because we as humans don't know how to do that. So if we have instructions on how to approach him, we have instructions on how to have a relationship with him, because it's all about relationship.
And two, we
Sorry.
see that was great.
went on
And we see that the disciples also have the understanding that they continued to do it after his death and resurrection. They continued celebrating the feast and doing all this. So this idea that, it's done away with or we don't need to do it is not right. And I believe as we get closer to the end days and our Messiah's return, we're going to see it being reestablished and that correction taking place.
Well, it says that there's going to be another temple.
Right.
So if there's another temple, if we're not doing sacrifices, if we're not doing all this, why would we need to do it?
Exactly.
So if God's planning on having, because he knew the temples were going to be destroyed, if he knew that there was going to be ultimately another temple, why would we do away with all of this in the ensuing time?
And in Matthew, I think it's chapter 24, when he says, pray that my return doesn't come in the winter or on Shabbat. Well, Shabbat's been done away with, and why would that matter? So we clearly see that that is not the case, and that the laws are there to guide us and to help us to bring it forward. What a great question.
And, this is one of our little taglines that we say is we're here to reach the lost and educate the found. And there's so much that we need to go back to our roots.
Right.
If you've got strong roots, you're going to have good fruit. Strong roots equal good fruit. And we forget where the roots really came from. And, they're Jewish. And it may seem foreign. It may seem, uncomfortable, but it's what it is. Right. And that's what we've tried to do all through this time with the radio show, is to educate you on what does it really mean? Where does this correction need to come in? And that's why, we really kind of get passionate about these things sometimes.
Yes, we do. And, Judy, you mentioned about that, and we said we have a big announcement, and we do. We have been on the air doing the radio show for now over 7 years. We've just started into our 8th year.
I think 7707 was
is
our
when we
first
started. And
radio show.
We've been praying about it, and we decided that the radio show has been great, and we want to continue to do other things. So as of next month, September 6th will be our last time on the air.
On the radio.
But it's been a great time, but we really want to do more with video teachings and using Roku and YouTube and our Facebook page, and really to start giving more in-depth teachings that are, so we're not as restricted. We can go straight without having commercial breaks and things like that, and really teach. So my encouragement to you, again, we're
not going away.
We're not going away. We're changing venues. And we'll still have the app for the iTouch and for the Android, but we're going to be doing more video and teaching type stuff. So I want to encourage you, go to our website, rabbiscott.com, sign up for our newsletter. This way we can keep you informed with what's going on. It's great to sign up on Facebook, but we need to also get you your email address so we can give you more information.
Well, if something ever happens with Facebook, we're going to lose the opportunity to communicate with everybody who is in the group on Facebook. So we just want you to go to and sign. It's our email list. It's proprietary. We do not sell it.
We don't do anything with it.
No, it's strictly ours. And pray we never get hacked. But we don't sell it. But we do want to be able to communicate through you that way, let you know when new releases on videos are coming out. It'll keep you informed that way, so you don't just have to keep checking the different channels. Right. You'll be informed on when releases are coming out, when special things are coming out. We'll still add some teachings in there. So please go that way too. And so we have that avenue, but also on our Facebook,
and we're going to be doing interviews with different people. So again, it's just this way you can watch when you want to watch it, but we need to know who you are and where you're out there. So go to our website, rabbiscott.com, sign up for our newsletter, and let us keep you informed. It's going to be a great opportunity. We're looking forward to it. We're very excited about it. We're going to be talking about it over the next couple of weeks, what we're looking to do and how you can be a part of it. We're going to be doing a lot more teachings. And really answering questions and things like that. So
we still need your questions.
It's not an end. It's a beginning of a new work that we're getting ready to do. New chapter, and we're excited about it. We want you to be a part of it as well. So check that out. Again, rabbiscott.com for more information. And check out our YouTube videos and Facebook. We'll be getting a lot more active on that. So we want you to be involved. Become a part of it. Let your friends know. And we're going to be here again for a couple more weeks on the radio, so you'll have some great times. And we'll be looking back at what we've done, how we started the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
So until next week, this is Rabbi Scott
And Judy
saying shalom and pray for the peace of Jerusalem.